Dumelang, hey guys. So today we're going to learn 20,000 Tswana sentences in just 20 minutes. Is that even possible? Our brains are going to explode. No, it's actually not as hard as it may sound. And I'm going to show you how. So our plan is to take a couple of sentences, add in a few adverbs like when, and then we're going to add in a few modal verbs like I want to, and put them all in a blender, and who knows, maybe 20,000 sentences will pop out. Let's see. So our 6 basic phrases that I've picked for this exercise are the following. Go bala buka, to read a book. Go nwa metsi, to drink water. Go ja sengwe, to eat something. Go ya gae, to go home. Go ithuta Setswana, to learn Tswana. And go lebelela television, to watch TV. Our next step is to conjugate for the 6 personal pronouns. So I do something, you, he, she, etc. In Setswana, we just have to change the prefix for each of these persons. The first one being ke bala buka, I read a book, I am reading a book. U bala buka, you are reading a book. U bala buka, he or she is reading a book. Re bala buka, we are reading a book. Le bala buka, you guys read a book. And ba bala buka, they read a book, or they are reading a book. Now, if we do this to all the 6 phrases from our first slide, then we already end up with 36 sentences, because we can conjugate for the 6 persons all 6 sentences, and that gives us 36 sentences. For instance, re nwa metsi, we drink water. U ja sengwe, you eat something. Ba ya gae, they are going home. U ithuta Setswana, he is learning Setswana. Le bala buka, you guys read a book. And now I would like to go even further than just saying the simple sentence in the positive. I'd like to add in a few other ways of using that sentence. For instance, we can negate it, we can say it in the negative, we can ask it as a question, we can also ask the negated version as a question. Then we can say the sentence in the past tense, we can say it negatively in the past tense, negated, and we can say it as a question in the past tense and as a negative question in the past tense, a negated question in the past tense. So I call these moods. These are the 8 moods I've chosen for this exercise. That would give us the following with balabuka, to read a book. U balabuka, you read a book. Ga balibuka, you don't read a book, you're not reading a book. Au balabuka, are you reading a book? Ga balibuka, are you not reading a book? Une balabuka, you were reading a book, you read a book in the recent past. Une usabalibuka, you were not reading a book, you didn't read a book. So notice the recent past negative, une u, and then sabali, that's the negation, sabali. For the other persons, you also use the personal pronoun with ne, and again the personal pronoun. So ki ne ke, une u, ba ne ba, etc. And then we get une balabuka, did you read a book? Or une sabalibuka, did you not read a book? So using these 8 moods for the 36 sentences that we already constructed before, we can construct each of these sentences in 8 different ways. And that gives us 288 sentences. For example, re ne re balabuka, we were reading a book. We read a book. Ga le nwa metsi, you guys don't drink water. Le ne le sa ya gae, did you guys not go home? Notice that the negated form of verbs that are monosyllabic, like nwa, to drink, and ya, go, and ja, eat, they don't change the final vowel of the verb for the negated form. It stays a. A ga o ithute Setswana? Are you not learning Setswana? Ke ne ke ja sengwe? I ate something. And now we add a few adverbs. So the ones I've chosen are as follows. Momosong, in the morning. Gompieno, today. Bosigo, at night. Morago ga tiro, after work. Jaanong, now. And mabane, yesterday. For example, ke bala buka jaanong, I'm reading a book now. Ga ke bale buka gompieno, I'm not reading a book today. U bala buka bosigo, do you read a book at night? Ga o bale buka momosong, do you not read a book in the morning? Ke ne ke ya gae mabane, I went home yesterday. U ne o sa ya gae morago ga tiro, did you not go home after work? So the reason I did the maths like this with times 6 is, if we look back at our adverbs of time, momosong, in the morning, I can use for present and for past sentences. Gompieno, today, the same. Bosigo, at night, the same. Morago ga tiro, I can say for present sentences and past. However, for jaanong, now, I could only use for the present sentences, and mabane, I can only use for past sentences. For this reason, jaanong and mabane together make up one extra set. So we have the sentences without any adverbs of time, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more adverbs. That gives us 6 sets in total of these sentences. So when we add our 6 times by 288, we can now create 1,728 sentences. Ke ne ke ya gae mabane, I went home yesterday. U ne o ya gae momosong, did you go home in the morning? Re ne re sa nwa gompieno, we didn't drink today. Ga ke ithute Setswana jaanong, I'm not learning Setswana now. So our next step is to change the objects around a bit, because it's an easy way to create even more sentences. You might know a lot of these objects already. For instance, instead of saying gonwa metsi, we could say gonwa biri, to drink beer, or gonwa sengwe, to drink something. Instead of saying goya gae, to go home, we can say goya tirong, to go to work, goya sekolong, to go to school, goya marekolong, to go to the shops, goya doropong, to go to town. Instead of go lebelela telebishini, we can now say go lebelela Netflix. Go ja nama, which means to eat meat, instead of go ja sengwe, we can say go bala dibuka, to read books and not just go bala buka. And go ituta sekgoa would be to learn English, go ituta seburu, to learn Afrikaans, and go ituta sezulu, to learn or study Zulu. So to explain the maths here, how I calculated the new sum of sentences we can create, we must look at the objects. The new object is not applicable to all the sentences. You can't eat beer or drink meat. So basically we must count how many new sentences did we add to our original set of 6 sentences. So now if we add gonwa biri, gonwa sengwe, and all of these on this list, we would get to 18 sentences instead of 6. So we have 3 times the amount of sentences that we had at the beginning. And we can now create 5,184 sentences. For example, ke ne ke ya tirong mabane, I went to work yesterday. A o bala dibuka jaanong, are you reading books now? Re ne re sa ja nama gompieno, we didn't eat meat today. Ga ke ithute seburu jaanong, I'm not studying or learning Afrikaans now. A le ne le sa ya sekolong mabane, did you guys not go to school yesterday? Now is where it gets really interesting, because we're going to add modal verbs. Modal verbs are, in English at least, things like I want to, I should, I must, etc. So the 3 modal verbs we're going to add in our exercise today are go batla, to want, go kgona, to be able to, and go tshwanela, to have to. go batla. If we then add this with the 8 moods we talked about earlier, it gives us the following. Ke batla go bala buka. I want to read a book. Ga ke batle go bala buka. I don't want to read a book. A ke batla go bala buka. Do I want to read a book? A ga ke batle go bala buka. Do I not want to read a book? Ke ne ke batla go bala buka. I wanted to read a book. Ke ne ke sa batle go bala buka. I didn't want to read a book. A ke ne ke batla go bala buka. Did I want to read a book? A ke ne ke sa batle go bala buka. Did I not want to read a book? As you can see, the conjugation here for batla is very consistent, the same as what we had when we just conjugated the phrase on its own without the modal verb. The next modal verb is gokona. This is to be able to. And the new rule to notice is the past tense, where we don't say ke ne ke or re ne re, but it would become re ne ra ke ne ka. It's just a special rule for the past tense of to be able to. I was able to, I could. Ke kgona go ya tirong. I can go to work. Ga ke kgone go ya tirong. I can't go to work. A ke kgona go ya tirong. Can I go to work? A ga ke kgone go ya tirong. Can I not go to work? Ke ne ka kgona go ya tirong. I was able to go to work. Ke ne ke sa kgone go ya tirong. I was not able to go to work. A ke ne ka kgona go ya tirong. Was I able to go to work? A ke ne ke sa kgone go ya tirong. Was I not able to go to work? And the last modal verb we're going to look at is go tswanela, which is even a bit more irregular because, as you might remember from one of my other videos, verbs that end in ela become etse in the past tense, but this is a special one because the positive version of I must, we must, or we had to, uses tswanetse. Re tswanetse go ya marekolong means we have to go to the shops. Ga re a tswanela go ya marekolong. We do not have to go to the shops. The interesting thing to note here is that the negated form uses tswanela. Ga re a tswanela, we don't need to, and re tswanetse, we need to. A re tswanetse go ya marekolong. Do we need to go to the shops? A ga re a tswanela go ya marekolong. Do we not need to go to the shops? Re ne re tswanetse go ya marekolong. We had to go to the shops. Re ne re sa tswanela go ya marekolong. We did not have to go to the shops. A re ne re tswanetse go ya marekolong. Did we have to go to the shops? A re ne re sa tswanela go ya marekolong. Did we not have to go to the shops? Congratulations, because these 3 modal verbs mean that we can now multiply our total sum of sentences by 4 because we had the sentences without a modal verb, and now we have 3 new versions with the modal verbs, which gives us a total of 20,736 sentences. Well done. Some examples of these are Ga ke batle go ja nama jaanong. I don't want to eat meat now. A o ne o sa tswanela go ya tirong mo mosong. Did you not have to go to work in the morning? Ke ne ke batla go ya marekolong mabane. I wanted to go to the shops yesterday. Re ne re tswanetse go ithuta Setswana gompieno. We had to learn Setswana today. A o kgona go ya gae bosigo. Can you go home at night? Thanks for watching.